I'm Eshima from Nagasaki International University in Japan. And so thank you for watching. And so also an opportunity to talk about my research. So my research interested in how diabetes causes muscle pathology, especially skeletal muscle atrophy, called diabetic myopathy. So title is Novel Insight into Understanding Diabetic Myopathy, Calcium Dysregulation. Today, I'm going to talk about diabetic myopathy first to show the animal rodent model of this disease myopathy, and second, the mechanism of cellular and molecular for myopathy. Third, I will explain this myopathy related to sarcopenic obesity. So, as you know, diabetes is a major public health problem worldwide. Uh, Metabolic disease such as obesity and diabetes are major public health problem. So 300 million people may be estimated to have diabetes. Also, diabetes causes many organ and or tissue dysfunction like diabetic retinopathy, stroke, cardiomyopathy, diabetic foot, diabetic nephropathy, and reduced blood flow. Also, diabetes causes muscle dysfunction. So, I mean, muscle is hard and skeletal muscle and smooth muscle. So, especially many studies focus on cardiomyopathy because diabetes directly impairs heart attack and its main problem. Also, diabetes neuropathy causes skeletal muscle atrophy, but main studies focus on cardiomyopathy. So this image are hindlimb muscle image from diabetic patients. As you can see, patients decrease muscle volume and increase subcutaneous fat compared to healthy subject. In long term, diabetic patients changes muscular structure uh, compared to healthy subject, suggesting that diabetes impairs quantity and quality of skeletal muscle and is called diabetic myopathy. So this is previous study for diabetic myopathy. A previous study examined normalized muscle strength in diabetes men and women. This study demonstrated that muscle strength decreased by the progression of diabetes. So, I mean, diabetes impairs directly muscle strength. However, these changes in the molecular mechanism are unknown. So here is muscle strength and muscle contractile force explained. First, there is membrane excitability such as action potential. Second, uh, intercellular calcium release. Third, A myofibrillar protein is regulated by calcium. I mean, calcium is very important for muscle contraction. We recently established ex vivo muscle contraction machine. We isolated mouse hind limb muscle was set in chamber to measure muscle strength, normalize the muscle volume. Leptin receptor deficient mice, DBDB mice, is an obese type 2 diabetes rodent model. So this model has higher body mass and blood sugar compared to healthy control mice, DB Misty. We also found this model impairs muscle weakness, I mean degrees of muscle contractile force, using ex vivo muscle contraction machine. So here is microscopy and image analysis using single myofiber from mice. We isolated skeletal muscle and it treated collagenase enzyme to make single muscle fiber. Fluorescence image is captured from single fiber with calcium indicator. If muscle fiber is changes color red, it's higher intercellular calcium, but this image is very low calcium level into myofiber. So here is fluorescence image that intercellular calcium concentration in muscle. As you can see, muscle changes color white, which means calcium level is very higher in the intramyocellular. If set muscle contraction by electrical stimulation, calcium level is very higher, and then calcium decreases resting level. Yeah, calcium intercellular calcium is very high during muscle contraction, and then uh, calcium decreases the resting level. And we examined calcium level in skeletal muscle from DBDB mice, type 2 diabetic animal model. This is a typical fluorescence image in healthy control mice. Control mice muscle increase calcium level during electrical muscle contraction. However, DBDB mice lower calcium level rather than control mice muscle, suggesting that type 2 diabetes reduce intercellular calcium level during muscle contraction and may be associated with muscle weakness in type 2 diabetes. Exercise is very useful for diabetes therapy. We examined exercise training could rescue muscle weakness and decrease intercellular calcium level in type 2 diabetes. We set 6-week long-term exercise training to DB plus and or DB mice to measure muscle contractile force and calcium levels. Here is typical fluorescence image in DB mice with or without exercise. As you can see, if exercise training treatment to DB mice, DB mice muscle is higher calcium level compared to non-exercise DB mice. So we found muscle from exercised DB mice impaired muscle weakness and decreased intercellular calcium levels compared to non-exercise DB mice. These data suggesting that exercise therapy could have the potential for improving muscle weakness in diabetes and is associated with improved calcium levels. Next, we examine influence of aging for muscle weakness in metabolic disease. Aging is a critical problem for maintenance of skeletal muscle called sarcopenia. A previous study showed loss of muscle strength with age is higher than the loss of muscle mass. So blue color muscle strength and white color leg muscle mass. So as you can see, loss of muscle strength with age is higher than the loss of muscle volume, muscle mass, suggesting that need to focus on muscle strength for sarcopenic study. This is our rodent study. We examined influence of obesity on muscle weakness for sarcopenia. Our study designed high-fat diet fed mice 4 months or 20 months. These study groups are 6 months old with low-fat diet or high-fat diet and 22 months old mice, high-fat diet fed old mice. So high-fat diet fed old mice were higher body mass rather than high-fat diet fed young mice. This mean is this model is maybe sarcopenic obesity models. These data are muscle contractile force and calcium level data. Left is muscle contractile force, young high-fat diet mice and old high-fat diet mice data. So young high-fat diet mice and old low-fat diet fed mice decrease force compared to young low-fat diet fed mice. However, high-fat diet fed old mice more decrease force along age or high-fat diet, as well as similarly the decrease of calcium levels during muscle contraction, suggesting that sarcopenic obesity accelerates muscle weakness and decrease calcium level than diet and or age alone. Our study was the first to demonstrate that impairment of contractile force in aged muscle is accelerated by obesity, which may be explained by a dysfunction of calcium level. In summary, our recent contribution to this field is the finding that in obesity, diabetes, and/or aging, intercellular calcium flux regulate contractile dysfunction. In addition, exercise training may be a promising therapeutic approach for skeletal muscle contractile dysfunction. Finally, Nagasaki International University, there are departments related to welfare, tourism, and sports, health and nutrition, and pharmacy. We are conducting biochemical and physiological experiments with students in collaboration with the Department of Pharmacy. So please contact us if you are interested in our research. Thank you.